Hello and welcome to C++ Weekly. My name is Jason Turner and I'm available for code reviews and on-site training. In this episode, I want to talk more about getting good output from your AI bots. And I will remind you again that I am making these episodes because you are already using these tools, not because I am promoting or endorsing the use of the tools or of any particular tool. But before I get started, I want to remind you that I have a best practices workshop coming up at ACCU in Folkestone, June 15th, another one at CVPCon, September 12th, and right after that, coming up at NDC TechTown. I'm giving lots of conference workshops this year, so make sure you check out the video links. This is my Using AI Better talk. I said you were using it wrong before, and I gave a few guidelines. I said, give your bot one distinct task to complete with a very clear goal. The task should be repeatable. You should use a sandbox mode so the agent doesn't have too much access to your system, and you should give the AI a good model to follow. We are going to talk about this, a good model to follow. Let's go ahead and create an example that is not ideal. Let's say not ideal. This is pretty good for a bad example. There's lots of little details in here that I don't personally like, besides the fact that we have a memory leak. Actually, let's do this a little bit worse even. So this has undefined behavior in the case of calling the default constructor, because when the destructor is called, it's going to delete a pointer with an uninitialized address. Yeah, this is good. So let's just go ahead and default initialize this thing like this. And now I am going to, again, launch Claude because it is the tool that I am the most familiar with in the experiments that I've done, trying to make sure I understand how to best use these tools so that I can convey that information to you. Now, if you type init on this tool, it's going to make a claude.md file. I don't know what's in it. Yep, all right, very minimal file. Now, I am instructing the agent to add best practices that it thinks this project should follow. And I can give it more specific guidance. Say ++ 17 or later, prefer smart pointers over all new and delete, follow the rule of 5, initialize all member variables. Okay, so it's actually building these best practices based off of what it thinks that I did wrong here. Oh, look, it says use constant context for liberally. I'm gonna modify this and I'm gonna say, no, let's do no. And then, so I declined that update. User rejected the update. All right, I'm gonna say pretend like you're Jason Turner and update the claude.md file with a list of best practices for C++. Context for all the things. Well, very good. Thank you, Claude. Use address and undefined behavior sanitizer. It's great. Static analysis, claims hiding, CVP check, part of your workflow. Follow the rule of 0, design classes. Oh, this is pretty good. Claude, you are getting better at this. I just created all this, and it's actually really, really close to how I write code, which is slightly disturbing, actually. Now, I'm going somewhere with this, obviously, although AI, these tools are unpredictable, so it's very difficult to know exactly what it's going to do each time. So I will say, update the code to follow best practices. So it moved the value to the stack, and that's good. It removed all of the special member functions. It kept the same meaning for the code. Effectively, this is not an integer allocated on the heap anymore, and it tells me what rules it followed. Now let's look at, this is a lot of words, right? It's a lot of words. It takes up more context. There is confusion. It says things like no Hungarian notation. The type system is your documentation. But By putting in no Hungarian notation, we have now put Hungarian notation into the context for the AI. Never use using namespace std. This is, again, a never. This is unnecessarily introducing something into the AI's context. Now, it's actually really close to my best practices. So this is slightly disturbing, but I know full well that it was trained on the hundreds of hours of material that I've made publicly available. Thousands of hours of material, perhaps? A lot. Let's look at these two files. This is definitely better. I'm going to make some changes to this. I think this is sufficiently not what we want of our code to start to make the point here. So this is now the test.cvp, and we're going to go into this claude.emd, and we're going to basically remove everything that's here. What we're going to do, and this is the point of this episode, this is how to get the best results from your AI tool. If you were paying attention in the last episode, I pointed out to you that the agents are really good at following patterns in front of them. So let's give this a pattern. I think this is pretty good. I am properly initializing mvel1. Yeah, I've given names that whatever makes some sense, follow some standard. It's got two spaces. I'm using no discard. I'm using trailing return types because I can. I'm using constexpr everywhere that I can. And I've moved to standard print here. I think that's good. So let's see what happens now. I'm going to leave this, and we're going to pull Claude back up. And let's see if my experiment is going to work correctly. Let's see what it did. It added print. It made a constructor here. Yes. Okay. And it made it an explicit constexpr constructor. It gave us two spaces. It moved to value initialization here. And it did in-class initialization of value. It renamed things to have the m underscores. It gave the parameters t underscores. This summary function, I think it followed just a little too closely the example here. I might have been a little too literal in my example, but I think this illustrates the point that I really wanted to make here. That might not compile. I'm not sure if toString is constexpr. Well, I mean, it would still compile. It might not work in constant evaluation time. Pretty good here. So let's just go ahead and allow it. So this is the point that I wanted to make. And it is very simply, don't tell the bot what to do, show the bot what to do. This is going to use fewer words, fewer tokens, and you can more clearly demonstrate the intent of your code. And I think this is how you're going to get the best results. This is what you're going to want to do when moving your code forward. That's really what you need to be focusing on. How do I move my code forward? Please don't let these tools amplify the problems in your current code. Do improve the code as you move forward by giving them good examples of what you want the code to look like. Thank you for watching this episode of C++ Weekly. Be sure to subscribe, and I will catch you in the next episode.